Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, a World Alternative Media here, and we are joined by Rana Vig, founder of Blue Lagoon Resources, a company that we've been looking into for quite a while, and I'm really glad to be joined by you today, sir. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing fantastic, Josh. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. First of all, let's just get right into it. How do you think the chaos in the world will affect the value of gold going forward, in your opinion? It seems like a lot of people are buying it up these days to mitigate a recession. Things are getting crazy, and people seem to be liking gold and silver.
Oh my goodness, Josh, I don't know if anyone has seen anything in an environment like this. Look, we've got the unprecedented printing of money. We've got demonstrations and riots happening not only in North America, but all over the world. And on top of that, we've got a world pandemic. I mean, who could have ever guessed or predicted this, right? So this is the kind of environment that gold thrives on, and it's got no place but up to go.
Right, and historically, gold has been wealth insurance, and in the state with the state of the dollar right now, obviously we see trillions of dollars being printed. Much of that not liquid; it's going into the stock market or into bonds, and it finds its way over to the stock market. But with that said, eventually that currency reaches people's hands, and eventually that causes inflation to go up, and eventually that seems like it's good for gold, is it not?
Absolutely. I mean, again, these are all the factors, that gold loves. And yeah, look, people aren't stupid, right? Even though that governments continue to lie to us, right? But when you go out and you spend money and you realize, wow, it's just not getting me further and further. I mean, what's going on, right? So people are realizing that more and more. And then when you have, people like Warren Buffett, right? The, financial serious players who have typically haven't liked gold suddenly are, bailing on the dollar and bailing on the banks and getting involved with gold. Those are all signs, right? That the precious metals are going to do, much better. I mean, we're just getting started, man. We're in the first inning.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of institutional investors over the years laugh at people like myself, people like yourself, for calling gold and calling silver and talking about these assets. And, they've undervalued it so much over the years, in my opinion, and suddenly they got their tail between their legs and they're saying, let's get into gold, let's get into silver. And it's a strange irony. But I wanted to ask, we now have negative rates in the US. The average person is not aware of this yet. What could happen when an entire generation of baby boomers realize their cash is worthless as they retire?
Well, just as I mentioned, I mean, that's exactly what's happening, right? I mean, look, people forget, when I was growing up in the 70s, my dad's a civil engineer. He's retired now. He used to make about $45,000 a year. Our first house that we bought was around $45,000. An engineer now makes around $85,000. But you know what? The house today in Vancouver, that same house is over $1 million. I mean, just, so people are like, what's going on? Well, the value of the currency is getting less and less. And as these baby boomers are starting to understand that, right? You go to a movie, you got two kids and your wife, and you buy popcorn and a pop and chips, and it's like $80. And people are like, really, for a movie? So, when all these people start to realize this, they gotta, and people like Warren Buffett and the big institutions are getting into it. They're starting to understand that you've got to preserve wealth. And the only way to do that is by hard assets, right? Be it real estate, for example, the house example I just gave you, or be it precious metals. So all these are factors that are going to drive unprecedented prices. We haven't even started. I know people have a hard time thinking, well, could gold really go beyond where it's at? This is nothing, right? And it's not rocket science, right? It's because of what's happening around the world with not just the printing of the money, but with just all this unrest, right, and chaos.
Right. And I can't help but think, I mean, I've been looking into this a little bit lately, just the fact that people value the stock market in dollars. However, if you were to value the stock market in gold going back to the 70s, the stock market is not performed well. Gold has, though, on the other hand. And I wanted to ask, we do have a lot of situations, especially lately. JP Morgan just got caught in this. Deutsche Bank has been caught in this multiple times. Banks manipulating the price of gold and silver, mostly via like ETFs and, not actually using physical gold, obviously. But I wanted to hear your thoughts on, if there wasn't any manipulation on gold by a lot of the major banks, lots of spoofing going on. If it wasn't for that, do you think gold and silver would be much higher today than it is?
Oh, 100%, right? I mean, it's been known that for years, right? Like I said, governments lie all the time, right? They're trying to fool us, constantly. These institutions are always meddling. I mean, it's just incredible, what's happening and how they get away with it, right? All the flash trading the algorithmic trading that's happening, in the stock markets today. I mean, it's just unbelievable, what they're doing. And yeah, if all of that moved away, the price would skyrocket. And look, all of these institutions, and they're only a fraction, right? Only about 0.5% is what they're of their portfolios they've got invested in gold. Imagine that moves a little bit to another additional 0.5% or 1%. That'll double the price right there, right? So if they get out of the way, which eventually they're not going to have a choice, right? I mean, as the momentum builds, they're not going to have a choice, and gold and silver has to go up.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've always kind of equated it to pushing a beach ball underwater for long enough. That, as far as regarding the bank manipulation of gold and silver, it just, to me, it feels like you're pushing a beach ball underwater and it's gaining more and more pressure. Eventually, when you let it go, you know that it bounces out of the water due to the pressure. I do want to ask, though, because obviously we are coming up on an election again. It seems like it's every year, but apparently it's every 4 years. It's constant, and there is a lot of disorder. I wanted to ask, do you think the winner of the U.S. election is going to have an effect on gold, and if so, how?
Well, I don't think gold cares, who wins, right? I mean, if Trump wins and you get the Republicans, I think you have continued unrest, you have continued demonstrations, you have continued riots, right? You have continued the printing of money, right? So that gold loves. If you get the Democrats, right, and Biden wins, you've got a socialistic, thought process, left-leaning government. They love to hand out, free money, and so that's what they're gonna have to print more money, and that's what gold loves. So I don't think it matters either way. Now, look, the fact of the matter is, this quantitative easing that started in 2008, 2009 is here to stay, right? It's like now QE forever. So it doesn't matter who gets in; they're gonna continue to print money. They want to keep, because the challenge is, politicians are spineless, right, today, right? There's no character. They have one goal. All they care about is gotta get back in office, right? And everything else is out the window. So it doesn't matter who wins, either way, they're going to continue that same process. And gold and silver are the winners out of all that, right? And hopefully some of us who are involved in that market, right?
Yeah, either way, you have control freaks. And that's one of the great things about gold, is that it seems really to be apolitical for the most extent. And that's why it's a wealth insurance. That's why people have looked at it as a wealth insurance for thousands of years. It's mitigation for the risk of these centrally planned currencies that, eventually they all come to an end. What goes up must come down. I wanted to get into your company because we at World Alternative Media love spotlighting great companies that are innovating and doing cool things. And I always pretext this with, everyone do your own due diligence. This is an investment advice, blah, 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 the usual legal jargon. But with that said, I am really interested in what you do over at Blue Lagoon. So can you tell, because you are the founder of Blue Lagoon Resources, which I've been hearing quite a bit about this past year especially, can you tell our viewers a bit about the company?
Yeah, it's a fairly young company. We launched it last July, and only about 5 months ago, we picked up our main project called the Dome Mountain Gold Mine Project. It's a high-grade gold and silver project up in northern British Columbia, so a very nice and safe jurisdiction. It's a permitted mine that only requires 3 amendments to get it back into production, and they're not onerous. It only needs about $1 million US, about $1.5 million million, Canadian, and to get that. So we're working on that process right now. But beyond just the mine itself, which, by the way, has had $28 million spent on it just in the last dozen years. The whole property has had about $68 million spent on it, over its lifetime. So it's lots of infrastructure and activity that has gone there in the past. And we've also got 15 high-grade known veins, right? So this is historical data. Companies like Noranda have been on the property, and we know where they are. They're high-grade. And so we're going to be going after those here shortly. And what's also cool about it is that 90% of this property is it's almost 12,000 hectares. So it's a massive land position. 90% of it has never been drilled, never been explored. So, we're very, very bullish and very excited about not just getting have the ability to get this into production or near-term production, but have the ability to go and build value for our shareholders by going after and proving up the high-grade veins that we have and exploring the rest of the property.
Right, and I was about to ask because, and you kind of pointed it out, 85,000 ounces of gold is mineable, but with all that property that's still not really explored, I mean, I could only imagine that that's pretty exciting for you going forward. I want to ask, because this is a question I get asked a lot, because I do see gold and silver as wealth insurance more than an investment. However, companies that are involved in the exploration and the mining of gold and silver, I find to be the real, as far as investment goes, and again, this is my opinion, again, legal jargon, but it seems like as far as investment goes, that mining companies seem to be a more bullish thing to look into for people who actually want to make money off of something like this. I wanted to ask, what are the advantages of people investing in a company like yourself?
Well, look, historically, if you take a look at it, when gold moves, junior mining companies move, in multiples of that, right? And that's what you're talking about, right? I mean, look, absolutely, one should have, in my opinion, some physical metal, right? Should have own some gold, should own some silver. But the real upside, I mean, let's face it, right? It really is in leveraging, right? And like you said, look, we're not financial planners, and I'm not certainly giving any advice on that. But I can tell you common sense. I can certainly give common sense advice, right? And common sense says, if you look at historically, if you look at 2008, 2009, 10, 11, when gold 11, when gold made its record high, and go back and look at the junior miners then, right? When gold moves up this much, 1 point, the junior miners move up this much, right? I mean, that's just the nature of public markets, right? And what you're getting big multiples, and that's where we're at. We're at an unprecedented time. So if anybody ever wanted to get involved, not just in our company, right? There's many great companies, right? After they've done their due diligence, that's what they should look at. If anybody wants to get involved, this is the time. Never has there been a time in an environment of. Let me tell you something. I had lunch the other day with the founder of Canaccord Capital. Right, Canaccord is the one of the biggest and most respected brokerage houses in Canada. And this guy has seen more mining deals in his lifetime. Has financed more mining companies than anyone, probably the top 3 or 4 or 5 people combined in the country, right? And he's retired now. He's like 80 years old, a super nice guy. And he was telling me that in his lifetime, in his entire career, he says, Rana, I've never seen anything like this. He says, you won't be able to believe what's about to happen, because, I mean, look at it, right? We got the pandemic, we got riots, we got demonstrations, we got unprecedented printing. I mean, they're printing money like they own, ordered extra ink, right, in the whole warehouse, right? They just keep printing more and more and more. So, those are environments that create tremendous momentum for explorers like ourselves. As long as we got the goods, right? We've got to go out there and we've got to execute on our plan, which certainly we're doing, and that's what creates multiples and helps increase our market cap and a win for shareholders.
Yeah, it does seem that the bullishness going forward is consensus at this point. I know very few people that disagree with that, and that gives you a good insight into what the future is going to look like. And I'm I'm really excited about it. Now, I want to ask, in terms of raw numbers, what are the numbers for the 12 years of production at Dome Mountain, and how does it measure against your market cap?
Well, look, the production numbers are, what they are, and people can look it up and stuff. But really, what we're looking at is how do you increase the market cap of the company, right? I mean, you look at where we are today and where can we be? So today, we're sitting, we're trading around, in Canada around 68, 69, 70 cents. I think in the US is around 55 cents. So, you look at that, and that puts us at about a 40 million, roughly, a market cap. Where do we go from here? Well, we've got a mine that's not producing right now. Okay, but we're working on it, which means the amendments, once we're done, like I said, they're not very onerous. We're fully cashed up, by the way, and we have no debt. Right, so we have the ability to execute on the plan to get that into production. So as we get closer and closer, obviously that increases the value of the company. We have 15 high grade veins, that are known. We're going to be we're drilling currently, and we're going to be drilling more. So as we put out results, as we prove what we believe we already have, and the market sees that increases the market cap. And then lastly, we have that 90% of the area that hasn't yet to be explored, as we put money into there, and we have plans to do that. And the nice thing about this property is it's a year-round property, right? A lot of these properties, the challenge is you can only go there for 2 or 3 months and work, or they're, because they're in high altitude, or you got to have helicopters and expensive camps for the winter. We're outside the town of Smithers. 45, 50-minute quick drive, less than an hour. People can go work there, come home, have dinner, and kiss their kids goodnight and go back to work the next day. Mm-hmm. So all these things increase market cap. So we are where we are today, and that's what investors want to look at, right? Is that we're cashed up, we're debt free, we have an incredible property that we're going to execute on, and that's what will help drive value.
Well, I was reading portfoliowealthglobal.com/blue, and I found it interesting that you have 4 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of gold, but that the cost of producing gold already includes the silver cost in them. So it's almost like it's free. What does this mean? It just seems like that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it is. Typically, gold, little junior explorations like us, we didn't really consider the silver. I mean, because where there's gold is, generally you find some other things like silver, and we have for every 1 ounce of gold, we have a little over 4 ounces of silver. And so, when we ship it off to the mill, it's not like they tell us, well, we're going to charge you this much for gold and this much for silver. I mean, our costs are typically just based on, and we look at the gold. But silver, at the prices where it's at right now, and where we think it's headed, right? And it's not me, right? I mean, people like Eric Sprott, right? A well-known thought leader, in the precious metal space, he's projecting $50 to $100 silver. So that becomes very interesting for a company like ours as we ship out, the mineralized material. The silver, like you said, is pretty much free. It's going to pay for all our G&A and add a nice little profit to the bottom line.
Yeah, it's unbelievable just looking at the silver gold ratio. If you've looked at the historical charts of looking at the silver gold ratio and then played it up against recessions and ups and downs in the monetary system as well, it just seems like we're on the verge of something really, really big. It doesn't just seem like that. It's apparent. And I wanted to ask, you went into one of them earlier, but so do you have any major shareholders that are notable for our viewers to find out about?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting there. We have some. For confidential reasons, I'd rather not. I alluded to the founder of Canaccord the other day. I had lunch, with him. Look, we're a very under the radar company. All right, we just started, like I said, a little over a year ago. We just acquired Dome Mountain, about 5 or 6 months ago. So, I mean, I'm just starting to talk to, people like yourselves. We're very under the radar. and that's, I think, what is going to create why the value is there right now. So you're going to see. Stay tuned. You're going to, as people start to find out, as we start to release our results, you're not going to have to ask me that question anymore. People will be writing about all the major players who are participating with our company.
That could certainly be true. And I wanted to finally ask you, what if you were to give our viewers a short elevator pitch for why they should get involved with Blue Lagoon Resources, what would it be?
I think the keys are, number one, you have to take a look at, has the person who's in charge, do they have any track record? I've been very fortunate. I've been involved in the capital markets for, about 10 years. And in 2018, I took, I made a lot of people money. I took two of the biggest, at that time, I was not in mining. I was in cannabis. Mm-hmm. I took Curaleaf public. I don't know if you followed that sector, Josh. Yeah. Curaleaf was the largest Canadian cannabis IPO in history. $520 million raise. It was nearly a $6 billion RTO. A couple of months later, I took control of another company, and I found a company called Harvest Health and Rec out of Arizona. That was the third largest in 2018, $300 million raise and a $2 billion RTO. So, lots of people did well. I turned my attention to mining because of all the things we just talked about. I love gold. And being an entrepreneur, right, I seek the opportunity, surround myself out, with the brightest people of that industry, and get to work on building that particular company. And that's what we've got here with Blue Lagoon. We've got an incredible property with a permitting. It takes 20 years to go from zero to a mine, right? Millions of dollars, right? So I was able to acquire a company from owners that just age caught up to them, right? They're 83 years old now and not in the best of health. So, they got it to the 1 yard line, right? And so I came, we picked it up. We've got this, permitted, mine that we're working on to getting into production. We've got these incredible 15 high grade veins, and we've got a massive land package that has yet to be explored. So, those are all, I think, very, very key to decision making if one's going to get involved or not in a company.
Interesting. I've been hearing your name for quite a few years now, and you've got a really good reputation. So it's really good talking with you today, sir. Could you give our viewers an idea of where they can find more out about Blue Lagoon Resources, as well as what the tickers are?
Yeah, absolutely. I would encourage them to go to our website, bluelagoonresources.com. I'm a very engaged and active CEO. I love talking to shareholders, big or small. If they click on the email link there, it'll eventually make its way to me. I'm happy to engage a discussion with them via email or phone and answer any questions. But that would be the best way. In Canada, we trade on the CSC under the ticker BLLG, and in the United States we trade under BLAGF.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate you joining us today, and we hope to talk with you again soon.
It'd be my pleasure. Thank you.
My friends, it is go time. We are completely demonetized on YouTube, and we depend on the viewer to stay alive and spread the message of freedom and truth. So check those links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, anything you guys could do to help keep independent media alive helps enormously in helping spread this message to the masses. So make sure to check those links. Donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen or below. We really appreciate anything you could do to keep us alive. You could check those links below for Cointree as well, where you can find other cryptocurrencies that you can donate and keep WAM alive. Find us on flote.app, flote.app, as well as BitChute and LBRY and Minds. We're on all the other platforms. We are leaving YouTube soon, so make sure to find us at those sites, because it's the only way we can keep talking to you, the masses, the great people that actually care about the future of free humanity. Also, join our new newsletter at www.iamband.com. Anything helps at this point, guys. We need to support free information online. This is the most difficult time in our history, and it takes a lot of hard work to keep our message alive in the face of great evils. that have taken over the propaganda news on television as well as on YouTube, where YouTube decides what you can or cannot see. We need your help, my friends. So I really appreciate anything you guys can do. Check those links. There's many ways you can help. Until next time, though, thanks, everyone. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.